Well, sure. So first of all, the God Emperor of mankind is obviously a parable of Jesus Christ, basically, because he's both man and God, right? He's a God, but he's also a man. He's somehow both man and God, right? He is, in that sense, like Jesus. He suffers a wound. He's betrayed by one of his followers, right? Judas betrayed Jesus. Uh, the God Emperor is betrayed by Horus. He's wounded and tortured. Jesus is nailed to the cross and fatally wounded and speared in the side. The emperor is wounded by Horus and then interred on the golden throne. The golden throne is he's constantly suffering in order to save humanity. Just as Jesus is being crucified to save humanity, the God Emperor is bearing our sins basically and suffering on our behalf. He's the light of the world, right? He is Jesus is called the light of the world. Well, he's the light of the 40,000 world. He provides an afterlife and so forth. So in all these ways, he is essentially God and Jesus. And as for chaos, well, this is the seven deadly sins, right? If you go to Catholicism, lust is Slanish, wrath is corn, pride and ambition is Zenich and Slanish, gluttony and sloth is Nurgle. Nurgle was actually a Babylonian god. So these are real human sins. And what it's talking about is, if you start delving into these sins and you go too far into lust or into wrath or into gluttony, you're going to literally lose your soul. You're going to literally become some kind of human demon, corrupted, possessed. That's all essentially real. It's a parable, saying you have to choose. Are you going to worship God, right, as your protector, or are you going to worship these dark forces, make pacts with demons and so forth, which all comes from real history, right? The Goetia. People literally did summon demons and make pacts with them and believe in this shit, sacrifice babies to them and all that. So it is basically real theology in that regard. And the whole war in heaven that is from the Bible, it's 50-50 in the Horus heresy, whereas in the Bible 33% of angels followed Satan in the war against God, but that whole concept is biblical. Other than that, I mean, I think the metaphors about psychic powers and how that work, I think, is fairly accurate. I think we do have astral bodies. I think that emotions and psychic feelings and psychic powers have a resonance in some kind of immaterial world that overlaps with our world. That's why, if there's an area where a lot of murder happened, that's going to be like haunted or tainted with some kind of negative residue energy, or if it's a sacred temple, it's going to have some kind of positive residue energy. So there is some way in which that happens. And there are psychics, psychic powers like the ones in Warhammer 40,000 do exist, telepathy, etc. And, there's all kinds of sociological metaphors because a lot of it's about the empire's bureaucracy and it's the ecclesiarchy and the ministorum and it's literally just like corruption and corrupt priests and corrupt governors and just human shit as well. But
so do you want to open it up to questions, or is there anything else?
Totally open to questions if anyone has. Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask.
If not, that's fine. I've been ranting on for quite a long time, and I got most of what I wanted to say. There's infinitely more to it, but
it's so intricate and detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just infinitely more to it. Like, it just goes on and on forever and ever into weird little rabbit hole you can imagine.
How do you memorize all that shit?
If I'm interested in something, I don't have to try and remember it. I just remember it. If I'm interested in it, then I just remember it. And this is something I've been interested. By the way, I've been fascinated with Warhammer since I was a little kid. Like, since I was a little child, I've been studying this shit. Like, I remember when I was in my cabin, I did so many chores so I could raise $100 to buy the Warhammer box set. It cost $100, which was like a fortune back then to me. And I had to do so many chores to get that box set, and I was just like a little kid at the time. But like I've been deep in it, and still like I think all the time about it. Like I like contemplate it, and like the art is amazing. The books are great. The video games are great.
What,
There's
fir-
great
what,
missions.
what, what first attracted you to that when you first started reading it?
Well, it's the aesthetic. I mean, everyone loves it. It's the grimdark aesthetic. The shit just looks really cool. The Space Marines look really cool. The aliens look really cool. The chaos looks really cool. Everything looks really cool. It's, it's like a science fiction toy soldier, fucking darks. It's way darker than Star Trek. It's way darker than Star Wars. It's like more realistic, but also more far out. It's the grimdark, like. It's cool. Like every kid wants to be a space marine, and it has everything. Like it has every kind of crazy alien, every kind of thing. It's great. And also, it's not written by only just one person or even a group of people. It's the collective work of hundreds of people, and it's just so there's really nothing else like it. Like even like the Lord of the Rings is still written by J.R.R. Tolkien, or Narnia is written by C.S. Lewis, but Warhammer 40,000 is written by dozens of people over a long time. So it's just, and yet it has sort of like a unity to it. It's too dark at times. Like the shit I don't like about it is too disturbing and too disgusting, but it's fucking cool. So